Alright guys, welcome to another weekly debate of The Floor is Yours. This time we have a set of 8 more speakers speaking on the motion, speaking for the proposition. It's Ayush Gupta, Vanchit Agarwal, Advityo and Arav. For the opposition, it's Maya Ford, Harsh Agarwal, Pradyumna Hata and Prakhar. Moderating today, it's going to be a judge along with me. It's going to be Ishan Banerjee. So Ishan, if you could please tell us the motion for today, and start off the debate for today.
Right. Good evening, everyone. The topic for today stands: this House regrets the commercialization of feminism. Right? Now, we'll be marking you on out of a total of 30. We'll be marking you on logic, content, awareness, and your answering skills. Whatever your questions will not be marked. For example, if Suryansh asks me a question, Suryansh will not be marked on that particular question. Now, if there are no further questions, we can start out with the debate, right?
Right.
Suryansh, over to you.
Right. So as Ishan mentioned, we have 3 minutes per speaker. We'll be starting with the proposition. Who will be kicked off? Who will be kicking off their case through Ayush Gupta. Ayush, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Perfect. You're perfectly audible too. Ayush, you have 3 minutes on the clock. The floor is yours.
Right. So, ladies and gentlemen, society is facing a fourth wave of feminism that is aimed at empowering women with the help of social media and the internet as a whole. Now, the reason for that is that we're moving towards an increasingly modernized world, right, with the internet at its center. Now, considering how vast the internet actually is, it's natural how it will be used not just for entertainment like downloading and pirating movies, hoping your FBI agent doesn't mind, or stalking Kylie Jenner in incognito mode. It is also a platform for goods and services to be marketed by hundreds of thousands of commercial organizations. And if one thing is for certain, it's that feminism is a movement to be embraced, not a service to be manipulated by the bourgeoisie. Good evening to everyone present. My name is Ayush Gupta and I'm speaking in proposition of that statement. The House regrets the commercialization of feminism. Now, commercialization is roughly the process of managing or running something principally for financial gain. Now, in the definition of that term itself, you may be able to determine the flaw. Running campaigns solely on the basis of returns or profits, in a word, is unethical, and in a sentence, is a misuse of a worldwide movement that dilutes its true meaning. Now, I'm sure the opposition would love to bring up the argument that it brings awareness. Now, you have to understand that the propagation of and reassurance of feminine rights and advocacy of equality is a concept that should be widespread unconditionally, not only when the rich corporations find a way to financially benefit from it. Now, and if the sole aim of the opposition is awareness, then why rely on these MNCs and these commercial organizations for wakefulness and not actual non-profit grassroots feminist movements like the Global Grassroots for or the Global Fund for Women, or even a huge non-state actor like the UN Women? And for commercial organizations, where do you draw the line between genuine feminism and feminist advocacy and them exploiting this grassroots movement? If your favorite organization's definition of feminism is making marketable products like pink-colored iPhones, then it dilutes its true meaning. Furthermore, MNCs releasing adverts and slogans for female advocacy only makes their initiative accessible and visible to the upper and middle classes that can afford to view and appreciate them, not to the lower classes that actually need feminism advocacy the most. And if the opposition truly believes that the women has a tangible or at least even a noticeable result, its effects should be visible, right? Now, by the use of feminist empiricism and by observing its results, we learned the exact opposite. If the opposition thinks the commercialization of the fourth wave of feminism and internet feminism has truly benefited women online, I'll tell you an ugly truth. 37% or most of the internet searches still consist of, any guesses? Any guesses? Ding, ding, ding. Pornography. When did you last see someone Google or research or even contribute to feminism because of a corporation's adverts?
Are you wrap up?
Never. Thank you. I wrap my statement, but not my stance.
Right. I think that was just your case, but not your stance. But yes, thank you, Ayush, for your speech. We will be taking one question on his speech. Is there anyone with a question? We will take the question from Pradyum. Go ahead.
Sir, you spoke about how nowadays corporations make such marketable products and call it feminism, and therefore this is commercialization of feminism. Do you not think that feminists would want to buy these products and would want to indulge in the purchase of commercialized products which commercialize feminism, and thereby in their products they represent their thoughts, the products they buy?
Right, sir. So I would like to tell you an honest truth. Now, what is that benefit? It benefits the person who's buying, the consumer's wants. It does not benefit the global needs. It does not benefit the movement of feminism. I know what you mean. I know that a feminist would prefer to buy pink iPhones, let's say, but that does not contribute to that movement. And again, as I mentioned, it would not, as I mentioned in my speech, it would not benefit the lower classes that generally need feminism as a whole. The lower households that face domestic violence, that face these issues on a larger scale. I'm done. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, fair enough. Thank you, Ayush. I hope that answers your question, Pradyum. With that in mind, we will now kick off the argument of the opposition, represented first by, coincidentally, the only woman in the debate today, Maya Ford. Maya, are you with us?
Yes.
Yes. Maya, you have, like the rest, 3 minutes on the clock, and the floor is yours.
Feminism has swept across mainstream media, pulling major companies along with it, commercializing the issue, you might say. The effects? People are paying attention. People care. You see, media shapes us. It controls our opinions and views to more of an extent than we'd ever admit. The vast majority of people follow along with the mindset of the society around them. And when movements for equality, such as feminism, work their way into the mainstream, people's beliefs and priorities begin to follow along. Spreading awareness, simply talking about things is put down time and time again. But as far as helping an issue goes, it's one of the best ways. Because when the general public gets a grip on a societal problem, the wheels of change start to spin. Donations skyrocket. The pressure on those in charge intensifies. It's true, businesses putting up feminist advertising have been called out for hypocrisy. The structure of certain corporations has been found to be disgustingly sexist, despite what their facade might say. But if feminism wasn't a trend, if companies hadn't induced a passion for the subject in their consumers, would we even have noticed? Their advertising didn't cause their misogyny. Their advertising caused us to discover their misogyny. It may not be the most integral system, but its results are so much better than they are without it. Because look around you, people are seeing this issue and people are causing change. Maybe not the businesses, but the businesses are sparking the idea because the people are the ones who, in the end, have the power. The supporting side stance sounds nice. It seems to be moral, pure. But this is the real world, not a utopia of right choices. There aren't perfect choices, just better ones. And supporting awareness about an imperative issue is the better choice in this situation. I rest my statement.
Fair enough. Maya, you have about a minute more. Would you like to carry on, or should we wrap up there?
I have a minute more.
Yeah, would you like to carry on?
Sure.
Okay.
A lot of times, people come after spreading awareness as fake woke stuff just designed to make people look better, which maybe it is, but for instance, when a hurricane is all over the media, people donate to it. When an issue is all over the media, people care about it. People organize marches. People organize lawsuits. It has real world effects, even if the advertising itself does not. So this isn't just about the businesses and where their opinions are coming from. It's about the effects that it has. And I think that the supporting side is completely ignoring this, because the effect that it has been overwhelmingly good. The world has changed for the better because of these businesses, and even if they aren't coming from the right place, you can't argue that they haven't done good.
All right.
All right.
Yeah, that is actually a pinpoint ending to your speech. Thank you, Maya. That in mind, we'll be taking one question from the floor. We'll take it from Arun.
Thank you for your speech. So, in your speech, you mentioned that once this movement once this movement is propagated in social media, it sparks the motion for the wheels of change, right? So, but how do you justify the large presence of pseudo feminists on social media who are hypocritical when it comes to what they say and what they actually practice in real life? So, how do you justify that?
I don't think that they're the majority. I think that they're a nice scapegoat that you can go after and put down feminism with, but I think most people genuinely do care about the issue who are consuming this media.
All right, fair enough. Thank you, Maya. That in mind, Ishan, do you have a question? Because I don't. Fair enough. Thank you, Maya, for your speech. We'll now be moving forward with the next speaker for this motion, which is Vanchit Agarwal. He is the second proposition speaker. Vanchit, are you with us?
Yes.
All right, excellent. Vanchit, you have the floor for the next 3 minutes.
Okay. So saying originated from the Bible, Matthew 23:3 reads, "Practice what you preach." A very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Vanchit Agarwal, and I will be elaborating for the motion that is, the House regrets the commercialization of feminism. To understand feminism, we must understand that why this term feminism was coined and why this movement it has to be used. Feminism should be is used for is a range of movements for the equal rights of women. To understand what is commercialization of feminism, by the definition of commercialization, it refers that the process of managing or running something principally for financial gain. So commercialization of feminism basically means managing or running something principally for managing feminism for financial gain. This isn't fair enough. Feminism isn't a joke or some kind of advertisement factor that the companies and the MNCs can go and use it for advertisement purpose and increase their sale demands. Commercialization of feminism is like you attended a protest against corruption, and the next day at cinema hall you paid 1,000 rupees extra to avoid the line. So we must understand that commercialization of feminism is in no way helpful, and neither does it create it may create awareness, but it isn't what it actually portrays to. For example, in 2050, KPMG, one of the world's largest auditing companies, released a video titled "Glass Ceiling" with the slogan containing our commitment to the next generation of women leaders. And uh, a few months later on, KPMG became the subject of a 400 million class action lawsuit alleging a pattern of gender discrimination, including denying promotions to women and penalizing them for maternity leaves. Another such example is the company Dove. It released its Real Beauty campaign. Which was praised heavily for its empowering message for women. The popularity of the campaign drove 30 times more exposure than paid media space, and sales that grew from $2.5 billion to $4 billion in the decade after the campaign launch. But what we must understand is that however Dove's parent company, that is Unilever, owns Axe, a men's health company. Many of Ache's ads have been degrading and sexist towards women. Feminist advertising, therefore, doesn't seem to reflect the core ideology of the company. It's only when it's an effective marketing tool and with the yes. So coming back to the commencement quote of mine: practice what you preach. If you don't practice what you preach, you're nothing more than a hypocrite. And similarly, several companies tend to do the same. They commercialize feminism, but they
Vanchit,
don't.
wrap up.
Yes, but they don't actually do by what they say. Thank you. I would like to wrap up.
Right, fair enough. Thank you for your speech, Vanchit. We'll be taking one question on this speech? Is there any? We'll take the question from Prakhar.
Sir, your talk about feminism, I'll rebut that in my speech. But sir, just to clarify, how you think, sir? How do you think? Don't you corruption is about doing illegal stuff? How do you compare paying more legally in a movie hall to escape the line with corruption?
Sure, I wasn't. It was just a medium of an example I said to propose. That is in corruption. You do corruption. You protest against corruption, and the next day you go and promote it. So I was just trying to portray commercialization of feminism in the same way. That is, companies try and promote feminism, but the next day what we see is that their core
Sure, Vanchit.
ideology is against feminism.
Fair enough. Thank you, Vanchit. That in mind, we'll be now. Ishan, do you have a question to Vanchit, or should we move on? All right, fair enough. That in mind, thank you for your speech, Vanchit. We'll now be moving forward with the next speaker. So I believe it was Harsh Agarwal who was the next speaker for this motion. Right, Harsh, you have 3 minutes on the clock. Are you ready?
Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, perfectly well. You may begin.
Yeah. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, dignitaries, and the honorable judges that are present in this house. Today, I, Harsh Kumar Agarwal, would directly like to stand with the opposition who is opposing the fact that this house believes that this house regrets the commercialization of feminism. The advocacy of women's right on the ground of the equality of the sexes or their social equality is what feminism is defined by Oxford. Feminist movements have campaigned and continue to campaign for women's rights, which include the right to vote, the right to hold public offices, the right to work equally in equal office spaces or cubicles, earn equal remunerations, own real estates, receive formal education, and have equal rights after marriage and in several various aspects of the society. Feminism isn't something what I'll say is Twitter trendy or hashy. It's Twitter hashtag trending or it's very cool. It is something that is necessary for the society to develop, advance, and progress at large. What we have always seen is that ages and ages leaders and people have um, already tried to put women in the thick shackles of ethnocentrism and patriarchy. Women have really come a long way from feminism through them. Still, feminist rights are ignored in some way or the other. For an example, like the way we have been ignoring the Wikipedia's plea to donate to its site is the very same way how we are ignoring them. They're putting their cause to the front, but still they're closing that tab. Commercialization of feminism is where the things turn. Several turns have been brought to by commercialization of feminism because we put the thing straight in the fact. Feminism, lost over the rise of years, has presented itself in its current form. For example, it is credible that Barbie is now credible for young girls to aspire to become surgeons and lawyers later in their life. Dove India's Love Your Skin in Your Own Way campaign saw almost sales boom and received positive response. Companies and corporates wish to sell stuff using the current depiction of the theme. There's no harm in it, according to me. But at the end of the day, a viral and commercial feminist ad or content is just viral. Something that's viral and has the ability to reach more people who wouldn't normally would have women's issue at hand. Ultimately, what I believe from an own example is that talking to someone who doesn't care about women's right, talking to someone straight is what I'll say is feminism. But commercializing the same ideology and presenting it to in front of them is like the first handshake with a greeting. It makes them more subtle and more understanding for the issue. Thank you so much.
Right, thank you for your speech. We'll be taking one question on that. Is there anyone with a question? Right, Ishan, do you have a question?
Right. I'll ask you a question.
Go ahead.
First of all, okay, which class are you in?
I'm in 10th, so this is my first debate here, first weekly debate.
Okay, and I'll address that later when we get the results. But for now, tell me something. Do you feel as a class 10th student who is debating on the commercialization of feminism, an ideology which is much practiced in the world, do you feel that rights should be used for financial gains? Do you feel rights are something which can be sold, which can be used for profit? Uh, what is your perception?
I think so. If we would have provided the equal social rights to women, probably wouldn't have been debating on this right now. We have denied the rights to women due to ethnocentrism, patriarchy, and several other issues. That is why we see neoliberalism and other fascist theories, which put down women even more. This submission or dominance of men over women has actually led to an outrage, which I feel is a social way of defining feminism. So I think rights is not something that can be sold, but if we can provide it to them by any means and put them equal, that's fair.
Fair enough. Sean, does that answer your question? Right. Good answer, Harsh. I will tell you that much. I had a question too, but Ishan already addressed his. So that in mind, we will now move on to the next speaker, who is from the opposition, which is Advitya. Advitya, are you with us?
I believe I was from the proposition.
Proposition, I apologize. Our next speaker is from the proposition, which is on my list, Advitya. So, am I correct?
Yeah.
All right. It seems that I'm getting a hang of pronouncing your name now as compared to our previous debates. Well,
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. One thing.
Right. Yes.
Can I be notified like say 15 seconds before?
Yeah. Fair enough. I will do that on the Zoom chat. So you have 3 minutes on the clock. The floor is yours.
Good evening to one and all present over here. So today me or Aditya Das will be talking for the motion that is that the House regrets the commercialization of feminism. So let us first understand that this sudden popularization
Screen is frozen.
Right. That is a bit unfortunate.
of feminism as a trend of hashtag environment and empowerment to sell things to women. I bet you have seen your
Just a second.
Right.
Please
I
go.
think Aditya is disconnected. So,
yeah. I'm here.
hi Aditya. I'm sorry you got disconnected. Ishan, were you saying something?
Yeah, we couldn't hear anything.
Yeah, I couldn't hear a word of what you said. So, Aditya, I'm gonna restart your timer. We'll have your speech once again. Are you ready?
Yeah. Fine.
Okay, your internet stable, I assume now.
Yeah, it's fine.
All right. Very good. So the floor is yours.
Good evening to one and all. So me or Aditya Das today will be talking for the motion that is the House regrets the commercialization of feminism. So we must first understand that this sudden popularization of feminism has actually started as a type of advertising
Just
Right.
let me
I
interpret you.
apologize, Aditya. We're stopping your timer again.
that is femvertising to women. For example, femvertising, which has actually made use of this trend government to sell.
Right, Aditya, I'm sorry, you cut out again. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to move to the next. We're going to take the speech of the
Yeah,
next
yeah,
speaker.
yeah.
And by that
Okay.
time, if your internet's back, excellent. If it isn't, I don't think we have much of an alternative. Or otherwise, what we could do is in previous debates, what we've done is, can you turn off your camera and see if that helps us? I believe that is a suggestion that I've just received. Uh, just a second, we shall resume when Advitya returns. Right, so Advitya is having some network issues, therefore we will not be taking a speech now. We'll wait for the very end in case it does return. So best of luck to him. So in that case, what we'll be doing is we'll be moving forward with the next speaker from the opposition, and then stick to our order until the very end. If Aditya returns, excellent. If not, we will not be able to take a speech into consideration into our marking sheet. Therefore, We will now be taking the speech from the third speaker of the opposition, which is Pradyum Nahata. Pradyum, are you with us?
Yeah.
Just a second. Before Pradyum starts his speech, since we have already had 4 speakers, uh, and is Ayush getting an extra minute to
No. We won't be having the refutations.
Do you want a minute, Ayush?
Um, I don't.
You don't. Okay. So, guys, the next 4 speakers, I want you guys to address how commercialization of feminism is not just this very contemporary thing, not very new. It is an age-old concept. Commercialization. I'll just give you a tip. Go back to the 1960s, wherein smoking ads were made by portraying women as saying, "You've come a long way, baby," and wherein lung cancer was made an equal opportunity for women. It's age old, right from the 1950s. So also applies that.
Right.
Right.
Thank you, Ishan, for that. So, yeah, I actually completely agree with that. That is actually one aspect of the debate that I think would be quite productive to discuss now that we've had quite a few constructives laid out from both sides. So, hopefully, you can cater to that part. We would be looking forward to it. But what you choose to say is again your choice. We'll now be moving forward with the next speaker, which, as I mentioned, was Pradyum Nahata. Pradyum, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm here. Am I both audible and visible?
You are both audible and visible. Thank you, Pradyum. So we will now be taking your speech. You have 3 minutes on the clock. The floor is yours.
Now, yesterday my mother offered to order pizza in return for me cleaning up my room. Now that room which hadn't been cleaned for 5 days was cleaned by me within 5 minutes. This is the power of incentives. Now you may say that there's a lot of difference between cleaning rooms and advocating feminism. Yes, you may say that human rights and the very ethicality of this concept of feminism should be incentivizing corporations to not produce, and thereby to advocate feminism in its pure form. But understand that I and corporations are very different. Corporations are very self-centric, and what they do affects what they earn, right? And that is why we say that they are more involved in that profit motive. They work on the basis of profit motive. Their main object is to maximize their profit. Now understand that it is in their nature to, if they want to advocate something, they have to produce it in order to basically have or be profit or make profit out of what they are doing. Now understand that as capitalism has become the most popular economic system since the disintegration of the USSR in 1991, corporations have become very important in the economy. They influence production, income, and indisputably the politics of a country. Now, if corporations are so important to a country, understand the fact that we need them to advocate something if we want that action to be taken, considering the fact that corporations influence politics. Now, even if they need incentives, which they do, as I said, if they need incentives to do something, understand the fact that they are still advocating feminism through their commercialization of feminism. And if they are doing it, it is in the end good for feminism, since they are such large constituents of the country, of the economy, and thereby by doing it, they are advocating feminism and making the whole concept of it more accessible, and basically advocating it to a larger medium of people, as the first speaker of the side opposition said. Now understand the fact that when you produce something, you need to advertise it, right? And if you are advertising products which commercialize feminism, then you're also giving it a larger, you're putting it in the mainstream media. Now the proposition might say this is not advertisement of feminism, but understand the fact that even if they're advertising products which commercialize feminism, in the end, if you break it down, it is advertisement of feminism. Even if a small number of people think about feminism, think about advocating feminism after looking at that product, then it is indeed beneficial and it is indeed advocacy of feminism. Now, the first speaker spoke about how these corporations market products and use the whole concept of feminism for their products to be purchased. Now, understand the fact, as even Ishan spoke to us and asked us to speak about the very concept that it has been there for a lot of time. And I do agree with one thing. This is the universal concept. Something which is intangible will occupy the tangible mediums of society. If today you have developed an opinion of feminism over the years, you need that
Let him wrap up.
you need the medium of your products for that. And I do think that yes, if there is demand for these products which advocate feminism or which commercialize feminism, if there is demand, there needs to be supply, because indeed it is making something intangible tangible, and it is increasing the effect of increasing the
Pradyum,
effect.
I'm gonna have to stop you there. I'm sorry,
And
but you have exceeded your time bar quite a lot by quite some time. So we'll be taking one question, and Ishan, if you don't mind, I'll be asking a question myself. So is there any question directed towards Pradyum? Right. So Pradyum, I think I'll go ahead and ask you your question.
In that case, Suri, can we both ask a question?
Yeah, fair enough. Ishan, why don't you go ahead?
Right. Okay. Pradyum, a very simple question. Uh, we've seen companies branding themselves, they, commercializing it, aligning themselves with the feminist movement. But the unique thing is that none of the corporations actually deem themselves to be feminists. So, what exactly is your take on this? That yes, definitely, commercialization is taking place with the idea of feminism. Yes, corporations are aligning themselves with the movement. But are these corporations deeming themselves to be feminists? No. Yeah, what you
okay,
say.
now understand that okay, these corporations might not be very publicly deeming themselves to be feminist, thereby not contributing on that extent to feminism. But understand the fact that deeming a corporation deeming itself feminist has a lot of effect on its sales, because there might be conflicted opinion, and people who might not be feminist might not go to that corporation to buy their products anymore. Now understand the fact that even if we haven't progressed that much, understand that commercialization is still some progress. Now if these corporations are growing by commercializing feminism, they are getting more, they are under more scrutiny, and
Bit short.
corporations are right. Okay, I think
Yeah, I think I got your point. Sorry, Ishan. Hopefully that answers your question, Ishan. So I'll just keep it very simple. You made a lot of constructives in your speech on the basis of facts, but I want to really go to your fundamentals a bit. So answer two questions, right? Now, firstly, I want you to tell me in short, what is your take on what is commercialization? In very short, give me one sentence and answer that, followed by a yes or no to whether you think commercialization of feminism is helping putting forward the ideologies that it in the modern day follows.
right. Okay, so commercialization, as many speakers have before me defined, a commercialization of feminism is using the concept of feminism as an instrument for financial profit. Now, moving on to your second question, whether it is indeed putting forward the concept of feminism, or yes, it is. My answer to that is yes, because it is broadcasting feminism through the very products that are being produced. And if feminism is a matter of content in these products which are being produced and commercialized, therefore I think that it is indeed gaining more place in the mainstream media, and thereby it is getting broadcasted. Thank you.
Fair enough. Thank you, Pradyum. Thank you for your answer. So we will now move. I think Advityo is back. Please clarify to me, Advityo, are you back?
Yeah, yeah, I'm back. And is
Excellent.
there any problem? Yeah, is there any problem like if I keep my video off
Not a problem. Not
once?
a problem. Right.
Okay.
So thank you for your speech, Pradyum. So here's what we'll do. We'll take both proposition speakers now. We'll take both the speeches of uh, Advitya, followed by the next proposition speaker, back to back, and then we'll move on to the final speech from the opposition, which is Prakhar. So Advitya, you have 3 minutes on the clock. You may begin.
Yeah. So good evening to one and all. So today me, Advitya Das, will be speaking for the topic that the House regrets the commercialization of feminism. First, let me clarify the fact that this sudden popularization of feminism has spawned a new style of advertising, that is femvertising, which has actually made use of this trend of hashtag empowerment to sell things to women. I'll bet you have seen or heard things like the Stay Strong campaign. Oh, and by the way, did you know that now you can stay strong with really, really shiny hair? And for example, like the Girls Can campaign,
which is promoted by people like Pink, Ellen DeGeneres, and so on, which says that girls can do things like play ice hockey, be funny, with makeup that can last 16 hours. Yeah, with that, girls can do anything according to that. So, you must understand, like in this current age, phases like feminist, AF, and nevertheless she persisted have lost their actual meaning and have changed into terms, which is basically marketable. I bet you have heard of H&M. So they all their customers, they with the help of their customers, they engage in screen printing, which is basically a certain capitalized form of feminism. uh, I would like to tell the house, like, how come selling a t-shirt of $70 or a bracelet of $30 support the cause of feminism? Because for example, that the people that made the shirts in that company, the shirt said that this is what feminists look like. And you would think at the first go that, wow, such a nice act to promote feminism. But let me tell you a fact that the women who actually have made that shirt will actually have to work in that factory for 2 weeks to at least save enough to buy one of the shirts that they made. And they are not even paid a dollar by the company that makes such t-shirts promoting feminism. They have to live in groups of 16 in a particular dormitory. You must understand that in this movement, which is defined by liberation and betterment of all women, such examples crop up in our society, which put us into doubt what actually this commercialization is affecting this campaign in. It is affecting so many lives and so many wardrobes. You must understand that this hashtag feminism has turned from a movement grounded in the betterment of all women into nothing more than a brand. I accept that I do like to wear bags that we should all be feminist, and do like to have shirts that I say that I am a feminist. But for that, we must understand that whoever does that should be
Yeah.
accountable for that. We should be accountable, that I am accountable, that when I see a woman housekeeper in my complex being paid less than a male counterpart, yeah, I tend to bring justice for a person. That's why you must understand that it's important to remember that while these are great campaigns by these companies due to the idea that they want to convey, but the only reason they exist at all is so that the companies can gain profit by aligning their interests with the customers.
Right. Thank you for your speech, Advityo. We'll be taking a question. Ishan, hopefully you have a question too. We'll take, seeing as how this may be quite questionable.
Let's have three
Yeah,
questions.
Ishan and I won't be asking a question. We'll leave it to the floor. We'll take all three questions from Maya, Prakhar, and Pradyum. Maya, you may kick it off.
You mentioned that some of these companies that are producing these feminist shirts have really bad um, labor organizations, especially when it comes to employing women. Would you rather we live in, and you say that you do agree that they're covering that up somewhat. You do agree with that, right? Would you rather we live in a society where that's not something to be ashamed of, where that's something that they should put on full display and be accepted for? I don't understand how the shirts are
Right.
causing
Uh,
this.
yeah, we got the question. Try not to make it a bit too
Yeah.
Go ahead, Aditya.
Yeah, like one of my proposition speakers has earlier stated in his speech that people should practice what they preach. Uh, these companies, let me give another example, like the company Ed and Harriet, when they make shirts which read that this is what feminists look like, so we tend to understand that this company wants to promote this campaign, but actually they are doing just to make that hashtag trendy, a profitable business, but they are actually not supporting that idea themselves. They are just promoting that for their own gains and not for the betterment of the campaign, betterment for the society.
Right. Understandable.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for your speech. Thank you for the answer, Maya. I hope that answers your question. We'll now take Prakhar's question. We'll take Pradyum's question and then move on to Prakhar.
So just a very simple question. Are you telling me that huge companies like Zara and H&M mass producing shirts which advocate feminism is not having an effect on how we think about equal rights and how we advocate feminism?
Sir, could you repeat your question once? Voice
So
broke
are
up.
you telling me that huge companies like Zara and H&M mass producing shirts which advocate feminism and advocate equal rights or advocate something even as simple as that women are strong is not having an effect on how we think about equal rights?
Sir, I believe that when they are advocating women are strong, a woman is not made strong by having a really shining hair or having a fair complexion due to the products that the company is advertising. The basic idea of that is getting lost when you put such commercials with such ideas into this campaign when you promote in such a way.
Right, fair enough. Thank you.
Sir, to answer your question, that does not help.
All right. That meant, I hope that does answer your question, Pradyum. Prakhar, why don't you wrap it up?
Yeah, so just a simple question. How do you think an economic problem of minimum labor wage should make us regret something which is completely not at all related to economics or a minimum wage of a labor?
Okay. Yeah. So when I speak of labor, so in this case, when we say that the women, those who are working in that company, they are working for weeks, they are working for hours, and the shirts that they are making, that they also believe that the shirt I am making will help support this campaign and would help other people who like me are facing such problems, are facing such problems happening such in their lives, facing such difficulties. When they don't get the they don't get the pay that they deserve, they don't get the pay which actually they should get, then sir, that is not how the feminism using that works. While they are not getting even the rights that they are working hard for it,
Right.
while other companies which the person's friend in that company are getting that, even though they are just doing that for their own profit.
Yeah, fair enough, fair enough. Thank you. Thank you, Advitya. That wraps up the question and answer. Prakhar, I hope that answers your question as well as all the others. We will now move on to the next speaker from the proposition again. We'll take it from Arav. Arav, are you with us?
Yeah, am I audible and visible?
Yes, you are both audible and visible. Thank you. So we will, like all the others, you will have 3 minutes on the clock. And as always, the floor is yours.
Right. So profit motive is more beneficial to a country than the pursuit of rights. No, I'm not quoting a famous person right here. I'm quoting the third speaker of side opposition who mentioned in his speech that for a corporation to function properly, for a corporation to function adequately, in order for a corporation to gain profits, he or she should just spread the word of feminism in order to gain the rights, in order to gain the sympathy, in order to gain the support of people who want to buy these products. Now, when we look at the definition of commercialization, it says that it is designed specifically for financial gain. Now, when we take that definition in context to today's debate, we've all heard of brands such as Zara or H&M, right? So these brands have been well known for advocating feminism and for using their clothing items as a medium for propagating the word of feminism. So when we just turn around the t-shirt and just look at the tag, we often say made in Bangladesh or made in Cambodia. But the irony in this statement is that many of the 1 out of 4 workers who are women in these factories face gender-based harassment issues every day in their place of work. So now these corporations are ignorant of the inherent flaws in their society. They are ignorant of the problems faced by women in their workplace. They are ignorant of problems faced by women in their communities, in their cities, and their countries. So now with this attitude and this mindset, how can we as members of society expect productive change in community? So now if these companies and corporations do not take solid action or practice what they preach, there is no way society as a whole will progress. There is no way there will be a change in the mindset, overall mindset of the people. And we require active participation of both men and women alike in order to achieve the goals that feminism originally set out to follow. So now, what you must understand that we as side proposition not condemning feminism as a practice or a movement. So now, when a member of side opposition came and said that when the feminism is entered into social media, it will influence the change. It will influence the change in the mindsets of people. But what we have come to see, what we have come to notice, and what we all have come to hate in social media is the vast presence of these pseudo feminists who say something on their Instagram stories and on their feed, while in reality they practice something else, which is far from the goals which they originally set out to pursue. And now, with this mindset of these people, with this thought, how can we expect change? Feminism is a movement that is mainly based on ideology. It is mainly based on social change and legal action. But how, when we look at people in their own home turf, when we see people in social media, which I agree is the main basis of propagation of feminism in this fourth wave, how can we, as people, see these people on their own home turf, right, propagating something else and doing something else in reality? Now, with the arguments that we have provided to you all, we hope that we have convinced that the commercialization of feminism is something to be regretted and has its flaws. Thank you.
Fair enough. Thank you for your speech, Arav. We will take one question on that speech. We'll take it from Prakhar.
So just a yes or no question to the speaker. Does the to the speaker. So you know, right, that after these incidents were noted and brought into the mass media internationally, companies such as Zara and all companies that have their production factories in Bangladesh acted and talked to the government in Bangladesh relating to these problems, and some of these problems were solved to an extent. So, sir, you know, right, that the companies have acted previously on reducing these problems in the factories.
Right.
Yes.
Could I, if I may be allowed to elaborate on my answer instead of a simple yes or no? Yes, we have understood that we have seen that companies are taking action, but change is far from being achieved. If change hadn't been achieved, why would we here? Why would we be here discussing this problem? Change is required, and which is why we are here talking about why commercialization is an inherent social evil which will not provide any beneficial change to society and the movement of feminism.
Point to be noted that the speaker contradicts his direct statement in.
Right. There was no. All right. Some apologization for interrupting you.
No, that's fine.
Prakhar, try not to interject a speaker right after the question. After this, thankfully, you will not be able to because your speech is now the final one for the debate. So.
Could I ask him a question?
Oh yes, of course, Ishan. Go ahead.
Arav, you talked about how feminism is to do with legal action. There has not been change which has been brought about by the commercialization of feminism. It is very clear that you have this presumption that there always has to be a change when there is commercialization of anything. So tell me, do you feel that if, for example, in the context of India, right, if the government of India passes a law that everyone has to be a feminist, will that bring about change? Do you feel it will bring about change? Do you feel that, okay, it is a better medium than just commercializing something? What is your take? You're on mute.
Arav? Arav, we can't hear you. I think your mic isn't working.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Just
All right,
let's move.
Arav, we'll take that.
Type. You can type.
Oh, okay. Continue.
It's fine. We'll take it into account.
Yeah, Arav, we'll just if it's possible, you can answer it a little later. But for now, if you can't answer it, we won't take it into consideration. Not to worry. So We still can't hear you, Arav. Well, we'll just let it pass. We'll now be wrapping up today's debate with the final speech from probably one of the most disruptive speakers we've had so far. We saw it just now. We have Prakhar Drolia. Prakhar, are you with us?
I can start.
Of course you can. You have 3 minutes on the clock. The floor is yours.
Yeah. First of all, a shirt telling that the woman wearing it is strong does not in any way advocate that the minimum labor wage needs to be increased. Feminism is for the world. It is a way that has been created to fight for and represent women's rights of female people. They say companies should talk about racism, but then they say they should stay silent and not commercialize feminism. Isn't this some kind of hypocrisy? It does not matter how long has something been going on, but it matters what effect has it created, and this has had a positive effect. Feminism might be called a false cover, but let us think about it. Feminism and activists who have promoted the rights of women have been able to bring a sense of understanding and social responsibility in the people. It seems like some people are not understanding the concept of commercialization of feminism. Commercialization of feminism is at the basic just bringing feminism into the commercial world. Look at how companies are wanting to talk about feminism. No company in this world does anything until and unless they get some benefits. If Jeff Bezos did what the proposition, what people think that he should just advocate what is right and not get any benefits of it, he would probably be the poorest person in the world at the moment. But campaigns and adverts regarding feminism help the women understand that and feel that at the present moment people know about their rights and wants, and in this world which is majorly male populated. Today, a speaker was even confused about what he was saying, and one speaker termed a female speaker as sir. When stars come out and talk about how a product or an action defines feminism, the world is educated and the women are empowered. The UN chose Wonder Woman as an ambassador. Remember, in some ways, Wonder Woman is also a commercial figure. But why was she chosen? Because people know her and connect to her and understand that she has powers. This helps convey the message more easily and shows the empowerment. If a movie production house, a global organization or company focuses on feminism, the general public understands that it is important and in turn also brings in equality. You might not react if I kick you once, but if I keep kicking you and people keep reminding you of my power, you will react. Same with the advertisement. There have been controversies on advertisements regarding cleaning which have women, but no one ever understands that the same ad shows that the women has the power to perform a tough and physically and mentally demanding task, and such as cleaning the whole house, which a man cannot do. If a woman has a power to do such tough job, that woman has the power to do a proper job in a formal sector company. Why should we regret something when it is ethical for the greater good of people and helping spread the positive and right message as a reminder? You don't need to be a feminist to advocate their rights and their power. You just need to be someone who keeps reminding the society of what are the rights and what power do women hold in this world. Hence, I do not regret the commercialization of feminism.
With a pinpoint ending to your speech, thank you very much, Prakhar. To wrap up, we will take one question from the floor. We'll take it from, yes, I see your hand waving vigorously. You may go ahead, Ayush.
Uh, right. So in your argument, you justified commercialization of feminism by saying that companies talk about racism and commercialize it. So can you give me an example of a company, especially in this day and age during the BLM movement or whatever, that commercialized racism? And please don't say BLM.
So, first of all, I did not say that companies commercialize racism. I said that the same people who say that feminism should not be commercialized and should not be brought into advertisements are the same people who come out to the forefront and say that the companies should make ads that bring up the agenda of removing racism. We have seen people connected to the Black Lives Matter movement coming and saying that companies hold a big responsibility of doing such stuff and should bring in and should remind people of the responsibility of removing racism from this world by showing that concept in their products, in their advertisements, and the way that they present themselves. So why shouldn't the same thing be done for feminism? Is what I meant.
Right, fair enough. Thank you for your speech, Prakhar. Thank you for the answer, Prakhar. Ishan, do you have a question?
Right, I do.
Right, go ahead.
But it's you don't have to bother and give you the option to not answer this question. But you talked about how Jeff Bezos has to commercialize things. If he didn't, then he would be the poorest man on earth. Uh, tell me, tell me which campaign has he commercialized for feminism? Anyone?
Sir, could you repeat the middle of your question because like your voice was very soft.
I'll type it.
Right, keep your mic a bit closer to your mouth, Ishan. It'll be a bit easier for us to.
Because I could not actually hear what was said in the middle, so I lost the question.
Right, Ishan, can you still hear us? Yeah, can you repeat the? Okay. Right. Ishan will be typing out the question, I think. Right. Let me just put the question forward to you. Ishan's question to you was, which campaign did Amazon commercialize to support the feminist movement?
Yeah, I'll say that, sir. It seems like you have misunderstood my statement. I said that companies in this world will never do something until they get benefits from something. So I give an example that if Amazon comes out, I give an example that if Jeff Bezos did everything just for the world's benefit, such as like he started Amazon with books. If he would just give books out for free for the benefit that people would read those books and learn more, he would not be the richest person in this world. It seems like you misunderstood my statement over there. I said that no one does anything for benefits, and I would like to take your mind to where he started his company Amazon with the idea of selling books.
Right. So,
Right, but okay, fine. Take it.
right. I think yes. So we that brings us to the end of this debate. Thank you, Prakhar, for your speech. I hope that answered your question, Ishan. So give us, guys. As we've come to the end of this, give us 2 minutes while we tabulate the results, and then we will declare it with you shortly. All right, so guys, we're resuming, and we have the tabulated results. It was I myself have usually been moderating these debates. I haven't judged in quite some time. I've usually brought in two others. However, this time I decided to join Ishan and judge myself too. And throughout, they have been telling me it's been a close one. It's been close. The gap was this. I saw that, but after having been in the position where I have to, discriminate between, this person was ahead by this much and that one was ahead by that much, and then tabulating with Ishan, I think it was a very, very actually a very head-to-head debate. And ever since I've been judging from like the very first episode, and this being, I think, the 11th or the 12th debate, I think it's been quite spectacular to see the complete jump up in the quality. So that's not just personal satisfaction, but that's a big kudos to you guys. I've seen some of you guys been taking part in this debate for for almost 8 or at least 7 to 8 of them in a row. So thank you guys for being here as well. And you guys have been flying up the rankings. If I took a tabulation about the total awards you won here, it's crazy. So Ishan, is there anything you'd like to say?
Right, right. I not waste anyone's time here. I not waste anyone's time here. So this few things. Aditya, I'll be honest with you. This is not how you debate. This is not how public speaking works. You cannot debate how you debate it, saying that you know having strong hair does not support the feminist movement. It does not have any meaning, or it does not have any effect. Yes, it does. We have to be aware. That is why we had an awareness. We were marking you on awareness. Yes, it does, because everything is not about whether it is affecting or not. Yes, it is bringing about a change, and it is the least we can hope for. When people are seeing it on a daily basis, when something is being commercialized on such a big scale, Yes, it is bound to change the mindset of the people. Doesn't matter whether I'm for or against the side or whatever. Only tip I can give you, you should break the wording of the motion into parts. This house regrets. The moment is for everyone. The moment it is this house regrets, you need to take it back from a timeline. You need to establish the backdrop in which it was the debate is taking place. And then you need to, debate on these lines. Otherwise, I felt everyone was very good with one of the most insane debates I've been to. And special kudos to Harsh for, I think, being the youngest out here. Absolutely lovely. I wasn't as confident as he was. The kind of composure. Amazing, amazing to see all of you today.
Yeah.
Congratulations on whoever wins, and everybody's a winner today. So,
Yep. Once again, thank you, Ishan, for joining in too. And thank you all of you guys for coming in. And of course, this is when we declare the results. So what we had a tie at third, a second, and a first position. So, and just to correct you, Ishan, he's been messaging me in the private chat too. It was actually Prakhar and Maya who are actually the youngest here. They're both in the ninth grade, actually. So,
all right,
anyhow,
that's okay.
Prakhar's been
I'm
coming
also
up.
in the ninth.
Oh, sorry, with your
Oh,
two.
damn.
I
So we have
apologize.
so many kids here. That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah, and
The good part
what's
is
actually
you
been
guys are
blowing
debating.
what's
That's
been blowing me
nice.
away is the fact that although they're like when I was in like class 9 or I've come up with Ayush debating, so he'd agree that we weren't this good when we back then. So
I swear.
yes,
I swear.
so that in mind,
Kudos to all of you.
that is true.
Amazing job.
Kudos. So in third position, in third, the tie is between actually the two youngest debaters. It is Prakhar and Maya. It's also Maya's first time, so congratulations to the both of you. Very well done. And disregarding how Harsh is calling out my history in debates in the chat, we'll now move on to the second position, which is from another debater whose first time it is here. It's Harsh. Harsh Agarwal, very well done to you too. I think I found your logic to be probably the best as compared to the others here. Of course, the logic was quite well held, but I felt yours was the most airtight. And in first, it is actually the same person who I've been reminiscing my past in the debating circle over. It is in fact Ayush Gupta. He had amazing content, and he stuck to the
It
motion
was
quite
well
well.
balanced. That's
Yeah,
what.
we
It
actually
was, overall,
that's
it was very
yeah,
well
perfect. That's the perfect word for it. Well balanced, and yeah, congratulations a lot of you. But I must say, and Ishan also reminded me to, uh, people like Arav and Harsh Arav and Pradyum were dot a 1 mark and 0.5 marks behind, so it was that close a debate. On one mark sheet, someone was third. On one mark sheet, someone was fourth. So tabulating it all changed up over there. So, but anyhow, I request all of you to keep your heads held high. I look forward to seeing you in the next few debates, and I think you guys, I think all of you have taken, except Maya and Harsh, all of you guys have taken part in the debates before. So I do request you to keep your head held high and take part in the next ones. Some of these guys who have started winning awards here have weren't winning at the start of it too. So I think having built a history now in terms of having debates, we've established that already. So I request you to take them as an example and keep debating even more. And that's it for me. Thank you guys for joining in. Thank you, Ishan. And yeah, that's what that was.